Well, I think it was a good thing to lay these two trees in here. I've painted in those distant mountains. There's a pretty thick line here, which I'm going to do away with because I still have to revisit the sky. I removed paint from the sky and I smeared it around because I didn't want those cloud designs in there anymore. Because I was thinking, there's not much sky there, so what's the point? That just weakens things. So next I'm going to take some of these, similar blues. I'm going to carve in a little more accurately around these trees. So much for a loose, small painting, eh? That's okay. I still like the direction the painting is coming. Getting happier and happier. So you can see I'm stepping up in chroma here a little bit. Because I'm committing to this being the last laying on of paint in the sky. And I'm being very careful about it. Because I don't want to go over anything again. I don't want to, mostly because it'll change the look of the technique. You can only get away with going over things so many times. I'm not being too fussy, trying to find a balance between being fussy and doing it just right, Maybe it would be beneficial to add a little bit of linseed oil at this point to thin the paint off, make it a little more manageable. But maybe not. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it. Excuse me. I don't think I need a blob there. Excuse me. Okay, cutting into the lines. There is some outlining showing on these mountain tops in the areas where it's necessary, but it's not sort of it's not a technique that is shouting at you and saying, "See, everything's outlined." At least I hope it's not. Okay, I'm just gonna continue playing with this. We'll get back to you once that's in place. I thought that maybe what I should do is point out that I'm more or less scumbling now, but I'm not using, I'm just using cobalt blue, yellow ochre and some white, and my brush is fairly dry. It's not heavily loaded at all with paint. And I'm just finessing where sky meets mountains and laying in a few brush strokes here and there. But you're getting a variety. Some more white, some more yellow ochre, some more cobalt blue. Gives it a nice subtle variety without any really strong design in the sky. Because I'm laying it over my former paint, which was really quite grey, because I was including yellow, or I was including raw umber in the paint. Now I've just gone with cleaner paint, and I think we're just going to call that sky pretty much. Pretty much done. Carved around the trees, think that's good. Now we're going to go into this bush. No, we're going to go into these distant hills and carve around the trunks down here and put a little bit of design in there. Well, let's try to give this bank or this the hillside, a little bit of dimension now instead of just having it look like a cartoon. So I'm using ultramarine blue and burnt sienna again. But I'm really trying to make a point of not overmixing things. My little piles of paint have skins on them, which I've removed, but inevitably it seems as though you get a little debris in there anyway. Just little touches, little playground stuff. So again, I load my brush. But I'll only get a few strokes out of it. The only way to get a whole bunch of strokes from one loading is to really overmix your paints, which I do not want to do. As you can see, just laying it on, just laying the paint on the canvas, they can overmix themselves very easily. I could mix a little more oil or a little bit of linseed oil into it, but I don't know if I'd be doing myself a favor by doing that. I kind of have my doubts. Because then you end up with you're changing the texture of your paint. In a way, it would almost become more syrupy and more easily overmixed. Certainly more spreadable, but Spreadability is the most important quality of the paint in the case of oil painting. Alright. Let's cut into it there. And maybe like so. Okay. How are we? Mix up a little more of the good stuff. That seems pretty light along the top edge there. Okay. Boy, I'm getting glare like crazy right now. I'm going to move my camera to the other side. That way when I move my head around, I won't be blocking it constantly. And you can see what's going on. Sorry about the bumping. That's better. I think, I hope. Oh, let me just adjust this. Okay. I think I'd like to break that line a little bit. Just put that little blob there. Okay. Okay. There, that's not such a strong blue anymore. You know, there are patches of fairly strong blue, but the whole area isn't so much that. Taking a bit of that blue chroma down by adding a little bit of burnt sienna. And the white, of course. Trying to make sure my line along the top has more lower value to set contrast from this plane against the distant plane, and then going slightly lighter, not everywhere, but slightly lighter as we work our way down towards the bottom of the trees there. Okay. Not painting trees on that. Not painting trees right now, just, indicating the possible shapes of trees within that area. I've gone a little bluer and a little stronger over here. Okay, that's good. A little variety in places. I'll break it up with a few strokes of a little higher burnt sienna mix. Only getting a couple of strokes on per application. And then working them on the surface of the painting as necessary, of course. Now it's actually pretty quiet outside. My favorite time of the day. But it's a farming community, so things get going early, by the time 6 o'clock comes, then start to hear a little more equipment going by. I know that they've been so busy in recent days. Most of the manure is spread. Most of the seeding is done. Most of the grass is cut. Grass or hay, silage, whatever is being done. No, just get rid of that. Okay, really all we have back there is texture, as much as anything. So we'll leave that there. And I guess we can play in the water next. Well, I suppose when we get into the water here, I used ultramarine blue and burnt sienna and white. In the water here, I'm going to use ultramarine blue and yellow ochre and white. Might introduce the odd of this color into here and the odd stroke of this color into there. Don't know, not going to worry about it. Again, I'd like to sort of maintain that steady-ish format. But we're ending up now with less of a bluish green and more of a warm green. So that's what we're going to go with at the moment. Let's get this water. Get this water in place. I think I'll use a little bit smaller brush while I'm cutting it around these branches. Let's see here. Okay. I just had to stand up quickly and look at it from a different angle. I wanted to have a look at this line, make sure it was at least reasonably straight. Okay, I'm adding a touch of white now to it. Might be a little too much right away. Too much, too fast. As they say, only fools rush in, but then who am I to claim to be anything other than that? Okay. I don't think I want that branch heading off in that direction quite like that. Just, you know, I laid this silhouette of these trees in pretty soft edges, and I don't want them all to be soft, so I need to harden up a few of them, but in general the soft edges are okay, because again, I want it to stand proud, but I don't want it to overtake this. I don't see any danger of that, because these trees aren't exactly going to have light shining all over them. Let's see, I'm just going to change the shape a little bit here too of this branch. I think I'd rather have it coming in like this more than like this. bigger brush now. And we'll cover some ground. Always tempted to put a few details in here and there, but I'm consciously avoiding it. It's only, what did I say, 12 by 16? I think it's 12 by 16 canvas. It's, you back up a little bit and you need to maintain some strength in there. You lose your way pretty quickly. I do anyway. I am leaving a few spots open to negotiation. You know, I would like to have, you know, maybe a waft, maybe it's just a distant cat's paw of ripple. Some wavelets here and there. Again, this isn't your typical, you know, mountain, trees, water scene, reflected mountain in the water. My goodness, that's been done. Oh, I don't know how many times that's been done. It's just too much of a postcard. I find it kind of boring. No, not kind of boring. I find it very boring personally. So not that it's a, you know, it certainly would be a fine composition. It's, I mean, the reason it's been done to death is because it is a successful composition. But it's a little formulaic, a little too formulaic for my taste. Okay, getting rid of all of this wash, this burnt sienna stain certainly has changed things, hasn't it? It's really, really changed the whole tone of the painting. Now this mountain jumps out more. I'm liking it more than I did to start with. Well, to begin with, actually I wasn't happy at all. So clearly that's a good sign. I'll get back to my smaller brush here. By the way, on this painting I've been alternating between, they're both flat brushes, they're both fairly new. One is a 6 and I guess the other one's an 8. Yep. 1 6 and 1 8. Okay, a little bit of yellow ochre and some white. Boy, that's pretty warm. Maybe I'll go a little bit bluer. Really, more like a little bit greener. That's okay for there. I think I will go to, now I can take a more yellow ochre-y looking bit of light and pick up some of that distant color. Just a little, just a hint, you know? Okay. Now we're going to go colder again. And that's off in the distance. We don't want our value to be too high. I think we can afford to bring it into here and a bit of it over to here. Okay. All right. And warming it up again. Okay, now what I want to do is, I allowed for this line in the distance almost right across the canvas. Now that I've painted that line in, I think I've decided that's as much of that line as I want. So I'm going to go back to my to the ultramarine blue and a bit of burnt sienna and a hint of white. And we'll get rid of the rest of that line. And we'll replace it with a few strokes that show clearly enough where the land begins. Okay, and it's not even that important. So, we're refining. We're getting closer to what we're after. Now that I've done that, I can go back into some water here. And I think I will extend that, but in a broken way. I can even afford to go over here a little bit now, I think. All right. Little speckles and hints of the stained canvas showing through. That's good. That's fine. Alright, next we're going to, I might put the odd stroke yet in the water. It's not going to get much, I don't think. I really like to keep the attention here, you know? Somewhere within that oval. Right now it's here. It's probably going to stay here. I might bring some of these colors in the mountain down into here as well, just to sort of have our highest value here and then bring them slowly down to here so that it's nice and warm against this tree, which will be reasonably dark. Okay, talk to you soon. I guess I forgot to mention that what started out as fields has become a deep mountain lake. Funny how that goes.